And then if they get a therapist, they'll spend a lot more money in 1 hour than they would on all the books they'd buy in a year. And they might go every single week, sometimes for years. People do that, whether it's a relationship coaching or a therapist, because it's seen as much more valuable because someone's actually or something is listening to you and interacting to you. So that's where I see this headed. What are your thoughts on that? Am I off base?
I think, again, you touch on a lot of good points. I think there is some differences in the cases that you mentioned, right? When you're talking about elite sports, on the other side, you're talking about couples problems, right? Obviously, very different scenarios, right? And when it talks about relationships and marital relationships, you may have, let's say, privacy issues interacting with a clone of, something that is not a person. You can see who the data, goes to, these types of concerns that yet are not mainstreamed, right? This is like something new. I don't know, right? So I'm kind of like put off. But I think in general, I think you really touch on a very good point in the education. Why would you, it can break the paradigm of, why do we need education in the conventional way? Like, we all go to a class and you get one teacher doing the broadcast, all of us. Because in a way, the online courses are individual, but at the end, it's the same thing. It's like one recorded stuff to everybody. So I think education is one of the industries that will be revolutionized if certain criteria are met, right? You need to make sure that certain infrastructure pillars are in place. And, depending on the region, they may be different. So, technology may need to be adapted. I'm thinking about Africa. Maybe the wire lines for internet is not as good as in the States. So you see, there needs to be a little bit of adjustments in that. But I think education, anything that anyone can learn, obviously in that format, I think it'll be disruptive. Obviously, you touch a point on the sports, right? One thing is to have the coach giving confidence one-on-one and kind of like the team spirit, right? You may need to be in place, but I wouldn't see it so crazy to have like that coach sessions on one-on-one for questions that, hey, coach, you mentioned something in the session today. I want to, something different, separate. The team, one of the team members may not be at ease to ask a question to the coach. It's like, look, I have a problem, because they will know that digital clone will be the one of the coach. So I think there is nuances and specificities to be somehow polished. But I think I agree with you. I don't disagree generally. I think there may be things to consider in terms of law, privacy, these types of things.
Other comments coming in. A viewer says, we're in a time of awakening, just like where we were when the World Wide Web became accessible to the general public. I do see it as very similar times. Techies in general hate to sell. Their clones cannot be trained to be super salespeople. Maybe not. I mean, part of the value I see is any company having a clone, so that if someone is a prospective customer or just fishing around, they can find out exactly what they want to know, rather than having to wade through press releases and go through some lengthy FAQ. So I see it as hugely helpful in the sales process. And I think that's what's going to drive a lot of this, is companies are going to see an ROI in terms of increasing sales or reducing the need of having so many people man an 800 number. So I think that's going to be an issue as well. Here's what I think might really kick this industry off, and maybe it won't happen, but imagine someone like Taylor Swift, arguably the most famous, successful, popular singer in the world today. If she were to have a clone and said, okay, you can hear me sing directly to you, where I mention your name in the song, and you can access me 24 hours a day. And I can even sing to you in your language, but it's going to sound like me. It's going to look like me.